Now everybody is jumping on the Cleveland hype train, even calling them Super Bowl contenders. Are you buying into the hype?
Yes, I am. The Cleveland Browns, just like you said it, are Super Bowl contenders. Wow. I don't think those words have ever been uttered. But, yes, the Cleveland Browns are Super Bowl contenders. The Steelers have lost their two best offensive weapons. The Baltimore Ravens have a wide receiver playing quarterback. No, I'm just kidding. The Pittsburgh Steelers have lost their two best offensive weapons. Cincinnati's going to be Cincinnati at 7-9, 9-7. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, I just got into the Steelers. The Baltimore Ravens, they lost C.J. Mosley.
They lost a lot of guys.
They lost Eric Weddle.
Terrell Suggs.
They lost Terrell Suggs. So they lost a guy that had been there 16 years, made around 6 Pro Bowls, won a Super Bowl. They lost Eric Weddle, who's an all-world safety. And they lost C.J. Mosley, who is the up-and-coming linebacker in the NFL. The up-and-coming linebacker, other than Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith.
And all they've gotten returned so far is Earl Thomas and Mark Ingram, basically.
Those are obviously not bad players. Mark Ingram was a great player, obviously, through his career with the New Orleans Saints, but then Kamara just came along and took the league by storm. Then Earl Thomas is obviously also another all-world safety. Anyway, back to the Browns. So based on everything that those teams lost, the Browns had infinite gain. Well, when you look at what the Browns lost, they lost Jabril Peppers, who was a Heisman candidate at Michigan, but his career hadn't really taken off yet. 32nd pick of the draft. Still has a lot of promise. Still can be a very good young player. But the Browns got Odell Beckham Jr., arguably the most talented receiver we have seen since Randy Moss. Arguably. It's an arguable statement. Since Randy Moss and Terrell Owens, arguably the most talented receiver we've seen. And you're pairing him already with another Pro Bowl receiver, not to mention his high school teammate and college teammate at LSU in Jarvis Landry. And I'm sorry, but Baker is here. Baker has arrived.
Baker's ready.
Baker's ready.
I'll give you that. Baker's ready to go.
He woke up feeling dangerous, and he is dangerous. And if you look at their defense, the additions they made, they got Sheldon Richardson. They obviously already had Myles Garrett. And they got Olivier Vernon. And back there in that secondary, they got Denzel Ward. That defense is live. That defense is ready, too. They're ready to compete. That front three right there, that is an elite front three right there. They got some names up there. Now they just got to perform. And out of the backfield, they got Nick Chubb. And not to mention, since no one is thinking about it because he's suspended, they have Kareem Hunt. They have Baker. They have Jarvis. They have Odell. They have Nick Chubb. And they have Kareem Hunt. Do I need to remind you guys what Kareem Hunt has done for millions of fantasy owners across the world?
Got suspended 8 games
Before
for millions
that,
of fantasy owners.
Before that. Daily fantasy, Kareem Hunt, every week. Guaranteed. So yes. Are the Cleveland Browns here?
Right.
Yes. Are they contenders? Yes. Now you may go.
Let me just stop you right there. Because the Cleveland Browns are not Super Bowl contenders, okay?
Blasphemy.
They're playoff contenders, and I see them winning their division. And Baker Mayfield's a winner, and Odell's great. And Jarvis is great, and all these players are great. Nick Chubb, Olivier Vernon, you name it. But look, there's nothing, there's nothing so remarkable about the team as a whole. You have a bunch of great, talented individual players, but when push comes to shove, and I've said this before, the number one thing that matters in the playoffs is experience, not defense, but defense is close. Experience matters most. And look, Baker Mayfield's a proven winner, but when it comes down to it, I see Cleveland making the playoffs. They're an extremely talented team, and they will be very good for years to come. Freddie Kitchens, first-time head coach, though. Baker Mayfield, it would be his first time in the playoffs.
Fair point about Freddie Kitchens.
Even Odell, he's played one playoff game in his career, and it was kind of a slouch. So take Cleveland to the playoffs, sure, maybe they'll win a game or two, but Super Bowl contenders, I think that's a little extreme, and the hype train's moving a little too quickly here.
I personally think that the
Cleveland Browns would have been much better off had they kept Greg
Williams,
as their head coach.
Completely agree.
What were they, 5-2 once Hugh Jackson, with Greg Williams as the interim head coach? They were an excellent team with Greg Williams as the interim head coach. They had absolutely no reason to fire him. Obviously, I'm not inside the Cleveland Browns organization. I don't know what internal problems are going on there. But as far as I'm concerned, on the outside looking in, Greg Williams was an excellent head coach.
And I said that the second they got rid of Greg Williams, I was like, why? You know? Especially Cleveland, an organization that's had so much trouble. And look, I think if they have an up-and-down season or if they miss the playoffs or something like that, because there's such high expectations for them now, if their season, if they struggle, it's going down on Freddie Kitchens. It's all on him at this point because they have the talent and the players. They just have to utilize it right. So look, I said the second they got rid of Greg Williams, I was like, why? He did nothing wrong. The team liked him. The team was playing for him. And of course, they were winning with him. So why get rid of him in the first place?
He was an excellent football mind, and there's a couple guys over the course of the last decade or two that come to your mind as guys that they're players' coaches. Players really want to play for them because they'd run through a wall for that coach. And the guys that come to mind are Mike Tomlin and Andy Reid. And obviously, I'm not comparing Greg Williams to these two elite future Hall of Fame coaches on any level. But Greg Williams gave you that sort of mentality.
And Greg Williams, even as a coordinator, gave you that mentality. Not just as interim head coach. As a defensive coordinator in Cleveland, same thing. And my mindset was when they fired him, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Exactly.
So they were winning. The team loved playing for him. He's a player's coach. Why get rid of him? You know, and I mean, technically he'd be a first-time head coach, but he'd already had that experience. So why not just keep it going? So I'm not buying into the Cleveland hype. I think they're a great team, very talented. They'll probably make the playoffs. But if they have one little hiccup this season, it's going down on Freddie Kitchens' shoulders.